it's an event that is affecting our lives right now, or certain to define our lives in important ways going forward, an event that's changing the world for all time, an event that people will write books about. And for most, it is a disaster, a true disaster, not just for the thousands who've already been killed, or the dozen countries that have been bombed, or for the hundreds of thousands of Britons in the UK who've dropped below the poverty line already, 2 months in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a disaster. But for some small, select group of people, it's been awesome.
So Tucker Carlson just exposed how elite hedge fund managers are profiting massively from the Iran war while ordinary Americans suffer. He's connecting war profiteering to market manipulation and the broader oligarchy controlling our politics. This is about who really benefits when America goes to war.
This was him 2 days ago on CNBC. Here's how his war is going.
Iran has been, I think, a major funder of sort of anti-American protests and kind of otherwise. I think that war is a very good one, and
the war is a very good one.
Yeah, I think we've
it's very unpopular, though.
I don't know. I don't know whose surveys to trust. Look, I think most Republicans, many Republicans, support the president, and it shouldn't be a bipartisan issue.
The Iran war is a very good one. Really? Says the interviewer on CNBC. No, really, yeah, it's a very good one. Is it unpopular? I don't know about that. And the truth is, Bill Ackman probably doesn't know. He may not know anyone personally who thinks this is a disaster, because for Bill Ackman and his friends, the Epstein class, it's been a massive win. And that's been pretty obvious increasingly if you're following markets.
Ackman's casual enthusiasm for war profits perfectly illustrates the Epstein class mentality. Human suffering means nothing when billions are at stake. These hedge fund titans literally celebrate death because their portfolios explode upward. It's psychopathic detachment wrapped in financial sophistication.
Now, that agreement has not materialized. Apparently, we're not actually close to getting one. But at the moment when that's announced, every single time you've seen a massive move in global energy markets and in equity markets, stock market, because people are betting that that will have direct effects on the value of stocks and or oil or other commodities. And a little bit before that announcement, every single time you have seen massive bets made on oil futures. You've seen billions of dollars change hands, and you can surmise that somebody is getting rich doing this. In fact, you can be absolutely certain. Now, you don't know who. Really, the only thing you know is A, it's happening, and B, no one will ever be held to account for it.
This is classic pump and dump manipulation on a geopolitical scale. Someone with inside knowledge plants peace rumors. Massive oil futures bets get placed milliseconds before announcements, then billions flow to the connected few. It's insider trading using war and peace as market signals.
Shortly before 9/11, somebody put big bets in shorts against airline and bank stocks. Those are two businesses that were directly affected by the events of 9/11. Now, we know this happened because these are public markets, so there's a record of it, but we also know, because they admitted it, the FBI figured out who did it. But the FBI never got around to telling us their identities. So the largest federal law enforcement agency has known for 25 years who had foreknowledge of 9/11, and that's demonstrable because they bet against the events of that day before the rest of us experienced them, and has never divulged their identities. Now, we can guess as to why that is. Why would the FBI be protecting people with foreknowledge of 9/11? We don't know for certain what the answer is, but we do know that they are doing it. They did it, and they're still doing it.
The FBI's refusal to name those 9/11 short sellers reveals how deep the corruption goes. They've protected the identity of people who profited from mass murder for over 2 decades. This isn't incompetence, it's deliberate cover-up of the financial elite's foreknowledge of major events.
You would see, well, certain commodities prices, including oil, go up a lot more, and they have gold go up a lot more than it has. And yet, gold and oil and other commodities have stayed far lower than you would rationally expect them to stay after 60 days of terrible news out of the world's center of global energy production. So the Strait of Hormuz has been closed for months now, in effect. And yet oil, as of airtime tonight, was under $100 a barrel. Much lower than it was in, say, 2008. That is bizarre. But it's more than bizarre. It's fake. It is obvious. It's become too obvious to deny over the past couple of months that public markets are not what they told us they were, which is to say open and free and equal for everyone to participate in.
Oil should be $200 per barrel right now, with the Strait of Hormuz effectively closed, but it's under $100. This proves massive market intervention, probably coordinated between central banks, major traders, and strategic petroleum reserves to keep prices artificially suppressed during wartime.
These are not high-risk credit cards. These are normal credit cards. The average interest rate in the United States right now is 23%. 23%. And by the way, that goes up to 36%, probably higher. Probably higher than 36%, but officially 36% is the highest rate any mainstream credit card will charge you. You could go get a personal bank loan for 11%. So you could borrow money at less than half the rate than you're getting from your credit card company. So why would anybody use a credit card and roll over the interest? 40% of American adults cannot repay their credit card balance. That's 111 million people. And they are paying, on average, 23% interest. So that's not a win. That's a sign of desperation and impending poverty.
While Ackman celebrates war profits, 111 million Americans can't pay off credit cards, charging 23% interest rates. The same financial system engineering war profits is simultaneously extracting wealth from desperate families through predatory lending. It's economic warfare against the middle class.
And the one thing, really the only thing we know about AI is that it's going to eliminate half of all productive work in the United States. That hasn't happened yet. It's beginning to happen. But all forecasts from the people who are developing it, who have every incentive to downplay the negative effects of the technology they're creating, all the forecasts suggest in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to see economic disruption on a scale we've never even conceived of. Keep in mind that economic change always precipitates, always causes, forces political change. And if the economic change is profound and abrupt enough, it causes revolution. The First and Second World Wars were a reaction to the Industrial Revolution. Of course, Marxism was a reaction to the Industrial Revolution. But no technological change in all of history matches the abrupt and radical change now being promised by the developers of AI. So all of this, the conversation we're having about the American economy and how much money people have and how much they owe, all of that is taking place in the final moments before the economic cataclysm we've been promised by artificial intelligence.
The AI revolution will hit right as Americans are already financially devastated by war and inflation. The same elites profiting from conflict now will use technological displacement to complete their economic conquest. It's consolidation of power through sequential crises they create and control.
I thought it was going to go to 200 or 300. Really? What would $200 a barrel oil mean? Well, we've never had it. We've never had and these are adjusted numbers. We've never had $200 a barrel Brent crude, period, in world history. But what would happen if we did? Well, I don't know, $10 a gallon for unleaded at the pump? More for diesel? Much more for jet fuel? What would that mean? Well, it would mean inflation, possibly hyperinflation. What would $300 a barrel oil, which the president said he imagined we could have, what would that mean? Well, it's not even worth guessing because no one's even modeled it out.
Trump casually discussing $300 oil shows how disconnected he became from his base. That would destroy every working family in America, but he treats it like an interesting policy option. This reveals how thoroughly the establishment captured him after taking office.
Iran did not have a nuclear weapon. It did not have ICBMs to deliver that weapon here or anywhere near here. It did not have an active nuclear weapons program, and the American intelligence community, all 18 separate agencies, determined that conclusively after studying it for years, and with the motivation to find said nuclear program, they couldn't. So no, Iran did not have a nuclear weapon. It was nowhere near getting a nuclear weapon, despite the lying you have often heard. That was not even an imminent threat. It was not close to an imminent threat, despite the fact the Israelis had told us and the US Congress for over 20 years that it was an imminent threat. That was a lie. But you have to ask yourself, even if it was true, would that justify destroying the American economy?
All 18 intelligence agencies confirmed Iran had no nuclear weapons program, yet we're destroying our economy based on Israeli lies repeated for decades. Netanyahu has been claiming Iran is months away from nuclear weapons since 1992. This war serves Israeli interests, not American ones.
Why did they do that? Because they are dissatisfied with the system as it is. They understand it is rigged against them, because it is. And they felt that here was one man strong enough to stand up against that system. They tried to put him in jail. They tried to impeach him twice. Here was a guy who understood what he was up against and would take it on and was brave enough to do that. And a year and a half in, what they've seen is a guy who got in office and immediately took the side of the people who persecuted him. For the preceding 8 years, he took their side and became their most valiant champion and began to persecute their enemies as he himself had once been persecuted. He switched teams. And they look at this, and they may not understand all of the details, but they look at this in horror and they feel betrayed. And that is obvious from the polling numbers.
Trump's young supporters voted for him to fight the system, then watched him join it completely. Instead of draining the swamp, he became its most enthusiastic defender, prosecuting his own base while protecting his former persecutors. It's the ultimate political betrayal.
Because if they are successful in doing this, crushing a man, defaming a man, slandering a man, attacking his family, purely for the crime of telling the truth about them, about how they operate, about the nature of the Epstein class, then you have to wonder, why are we voting in the first place? What is the point of all of this? Is there a reason to participate in the process? If in the end, some Israeli casino lady can come in and just determine the outcome with Chris LaCivita, that's not democracy. It's not even a poor facsimile of democracy. It's just straight up teeth-bared oligarchy. It's shut up and obey. It's a foretaste of life under AI. It's the control grid, actually. And so while we can, it's probably worth doing whatever it takes within the bounds of the law to prevent that from happening. Not because Thomas Massie is going to change the system single-handedly. He's not, and he's happy to admit that. But because crushing Thomas Massie for the crime of telling the truth is itself a moral crime. You can never punish people for telling the truth. And yet in Washington, the only people who are punished are those who told the truth. And at some point that has to stop, or the system itself lacks all legitimacy.
Thomas Massie's primary fight represents democracy's last stand against oligarchy. If AIPAC can destroy any congressman with unlimited foreign money, elections become meaningless theater. This Kentucky race determines whether Americans still choose their representatives or Israeli lobby groups do.